What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. So today, we're going to be talking a little bit more about Gear 5 Luffy. So, of course, yesterday was a big day. As we had the initial data download, we saw the information for the first time. And my video that you guys would have seen yesterday talking about his information was essentially almost like my initial reaction to the character. But now we've had a lot of time to digest this information, compare, contrast, and actually kind of theorize how people can utilize this character. I think it's pretty safe to assume at this point that we don't think Gear 5 is the best legend in the game. We can confirm, though, that it is going to be a very, very good legend. But yeah, I think it was a bit of an overreaction to say that it's going to be the best unit in the game. As much as people would have loved that to be the case, I would have loved for this character to be the best in the game. However, since us having the opportunity now to digest this information, things have kind of changed a little bit. So I want to just talk about this character in a little bit more detail, give my exact thoughts and opinions about what we see here. So here we have Monkey D. Luffy. The character artwork looks so good, dude. It looks so good. Sai, free spirit fighter, of course, we all know that. And then you have the captain ability. Now, honestly speaking, the captain ability is almost perfect in my eyes. I feel like the only issue is that there's no cooldown reduction, and a lot of people have brought that up, especially when you look at the special. 15 turns with expansion, 16 turns naturally, like that's pretty high for a special that does what he does. I feel like maybe it's the fact that they like severely overvalue this effect here of reducing enemies' positive buffs by 1 turn. I mean, you got to admit that is a very, very good ability. But captain ability wise, the fact that there's no cooldown reduction is a bit annoying. So obviously we talked about it in another video yesterday, how there is a super evolution skull for Luffy, and it does appear that this Luffy will super evolve sometime shortly. And a lot of people theorize that potentially with a 6+, it's literally just going to fix some of the issues that we have with the unit, like cooldown reduction and stuff like that, which could make him one of the best units in the game. Or I still think he is one of the best in the game. I just don't think he is the best in the game. But, I mean, yeah, captain ability, I don't have many complaints at all. His crewmate ability here, resisting paralysis on himself, is garbage. I really don't like that at all. The special ability, I think, it's fascinating here, right? Because basically, if you use the special while you're in normal form of Luffy, then you get this effect here. So you get the 2 million fixed damage, and it only goes to 1 target. I think I overlooked that on my initial video. It's only to 1 enemy. And then the color affinity to Sai free spirit characters, so they have to be both Sai and free spirit, and they get a 3 times affinity boost. But then if they are just Sai or just free spirit, then they get 2.75 color affinity instead. I can understand why they're doing that. They want you to utilize the Sai free spirit combination together. But then you also get the full board of Sai slots, which as a captain, he makes them beneficial. So I don't really have any issues with that either. But then when you launch the special while you're in the Gear 5 state, then you get access to the orb boost for Sai free spirit, 3.25 for 1 turn. And then if you're just Sai or just free spirit, then you get a 2.75 times orb boost. Now, that is a little different, right? Because it's a 3.25 comparing that to 2.75. That is a massive difference. So, while yes, you can just run free spirit or just Sai units on your team to get the buffs of this character, that's a pretty big jump in terms of power between these two effects. And of course, you can just hybrid this character up with a lot of really good units as well, which I kind of want to discuss a little shortly as well. That you can just use a better orb boost and then have this character on the side burner anyway for the orb boost. Like, it doesn't really matter. But then this ability to remove positive buffs, I think it's going to be a very good thing moving forward. And I can assume that in potential events moving forward, there's going to be really weird gimmicks where that effect to remove positive buffs is going to play a key part. But we'll have to wait and see, of course. But then we've got the Super EX special. This is also kind of fascinating because at this point in time, we do not know if you can activate this Super EX effect while you're a crewmate of Monkey D. Luffy. And that's kind of important because they did advertise that certain characters with EX super specials will be able to use their EX special while they're a crewmate. Now, we saw that PKA Roger that dropped with his EX special, you cannot use his effect while he is a crewmate. And it doesn't state anywhere on his kit that it can be used as a sub. It doesn't state anywhere on Luffy's kit that you can use it as a sub. And that is important because if you do opt to use the character as a crewmate, remember that you need to be in Gear 5 state to get the orb boosting effect, which means that if you can't use him as a captain, if you're using him as a crewmate and you can't transform him into Gear 5 with the Super EX special, that's going to be a bit of an issue. You see what I mean? Because you can't get the full special. So I hope that you can, because this effect of increasing the orb magnification of sign recovery to 3x is very powerful. Just making all of the slots that you find with this, with the full size slots that you get with this special, making them the best slots in the game mathematically, is a really good thing. It's very powerful. And then he becomes the Gear 5 state, obviously. And then getting super free spirit and super psi in one activation, incredibly strong, dude. And then you've got the support, which I'm actually kind of okay with. 15% base attack. I mean, it's going to be very good if you're running Psi-Free Spirit, and there are a lot of characters that you can attach this character to. But it's a Luffy character, you know. Typically, you got a Luffy on the team, or Luffy as, you know, as a support anyway, in some other way, shape, or form. So it may be difficult to use at times, but still, 15% base attack is very, very strong. And then this is another thing that I was kind of pissed off about too. His slotbind reduction only removes 10 turns, right? And his critical hit it's an 80% chance to deal 8% extra damage. And we have seen in this game, there have been many characters completely remove slotbind, and many characters with guaranteed 100% chance of crit. So I don't really understand why they're giving one of the most hyped characters to ever release in the history of the game a critical hit that is not guaranteed, and a slotbind removal that doesn't completely remove it. So that is a big missed opportunity. And even if this character super evolves, let's say, these potential abilities don't change, or at least there's no evidence to suggest that when a character super evolves, potential abilities change, because I don't think that is the case. So yeah, very, very odd there. I don't understand that at all. And then of course you have the Rush special. This is interesting too, because I believe this is actually the Sanji effect, so that's a little strange. But this is the Luffy effect you see on the right hand side. So the thing about the Rush that makes it a little bit different to when we first, you know, reacted to this character information is the fact that the Rush Sugo special will only boost the attack of the character performing the Rush Sugo special. Whereas you had Sanji, the previously released Rush Sugo special Sanji, his Rush special would give an attack boost to strength, dex, and quick characters, whereas this one only gives the buff to Luffy himself. So that is a humongous difference between these two characters. However, there is a caveat to this, and I think some people are overlooking, that may actually change this. So we're going to zoom in here. This is comparing the Luffy and the Sanji Rush effect. So let's have a look at Sanji's. So every time, this is at level 5 by the way, every time you tap with his Rush, you lose 12,500 HP, a maximum rush of 10 times, so it's a lot. You get a 0.0 chain multiplier growth with every tap. And then when you finish the tapping of your Rush, Strength, Dex, and Quick receive a 1.4 attack boost. Then it says each successful chain adds 0.1 up to the max of 2.0. So this is what it's saying here with the chain growth, and then you can get up to a maximum of additional 2.0. That's actually kind of crazy. And then your first tap multiplier, so the first tap of the Rush gets a 0.5 chain multiplier, the Rush tap 0.1, and then the finish tap 0.8. But then we have a look at Luffy. So you can see it takes 20,000 HP, and you have to rush only 5 times maximum. You're getting a higher chain growth. The self-attack boost is a 2 times boost only to Luffy himself, whereas before it was 1.4 to Strength, Dex, Quick. This is 2x to Luffy himself, and then you can get a chain multiplier boost of up to 2.6, which is very high, and then the finish tap 3. So this is allowing you to get much higher damage on Luffy himself. When you just look at the finish tap multiplier at 3, comparing before at 0.8, that's a huge jump, right? So I don't know, we'll have to wait and see how he performs in game. The Rush Sugo special is kind of like one of the key things about this unit that people are going to be looking at, considering that's the thing you're going to be leveling up when you pull duplicates of the character. And if the effect that you get by pulling dupes isn't as good, people won't want to pull duplicates of the character. So I don't really get that. And again, as we touched up on, potential abilities when you super evolve, from my recollection, do not change. But then again, we have seen some of the final taps of like Luffy, for example, the blue Luffy final tap character, when he super evolved, I believe his actual final tap did get a buff in terms of damage. But we haven't seen the actual effect change. So I don't know, maybe his Rush is going to change if he ends up super evolving. And I hope that is the case, because a self boost with Rush, I don't know, it's going to be interesting to see how it all works out. Because typically, as we've seen with Sanji, you tap with him first, you get a big damage increase for the rest of the crew. You do a super tandem in the middle of the chain, you finish with a final tap, you get a lot of damage. But with the way that he works, in the fact that Luffy's are typically used a lot in super tandem chains, means that you want this Luffy to actually attack towards the end of your chain, almost like a final tap. But the fact that you can perform this rush in the gear 5 state, or if you last tap with him, means that you could, like hypothetically, be in gear 5 form, do all your taps, get a super tandem, then the 5th tap can be Luffy with his rush, and then the 6th tap can be your final tap. So it's very convoluted, of course, and we're going to have to wait and see in game to see how exactly the rush effect will work, and how the multipliers come together to give him his damage increasing effect. But at face value, the fact that it only gives the buff to Luffy himself is a pretty big detriment. So as I said, you know, we're going to really have to wait and see and pull this character and trial him out just to see how this all works. But, you know, I don't think he is the best character in the game, unfortunately, as much as we all would have loved for that to be the case. I think he's very good, though. I think he's probably close to top 5, especially due to the fact that his captain ability is so strong. The revive mechanic, you can't disregard that. And then being able to resist 10 turns of bind and 10 turns of special reverse. Not a lot of characters can do that. And then also having a powerful special and access to the fact that, you know, you can bypass defensive effects in the gear 5 state. Like, it's so strong. This unit is very, very good. Please do not think that I'm saying this character is bad. All I'm saying is that people need to keep their expectations in check for what the reality is of when we pull this unit, because, you know, without this deep dive of understanding how this character works, we may also have, you know, like a Film Red Shanks kind of situation where we expected a character to perform one thing and then they don't do the thing that we thought they were going to do, and then everyone's in an uproar. Just wanted to give you guys this information, a little bit more of a deep dive into discussing what this character is actually going to be doing and how the Rush Sugo special might not be as good as what we thought, meaning that, you know, going for dupes might not actually be the thing to do. So just wanted to give you guys the heads up about it. I think the character is still a lot of fun. I'm still definitely going to be doing pulls for him on part 1, and if we don't get in part 1, we're going to part 2. We're going to be getting this guy, no doubt in my mind. Anyways, hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you guys did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and leave a like, and definitely let me know your thoughts and opinions about the Gear 5 stuff down below in the comment section. I know quite a few people in the video yesterday were actually disappointed about Gear 5 Luffy. They wanted him to be, you know, the best, the pinnacle. I understand that, but it's not reality. It's not what this character is as much as we wanted it to be. Potentially, as I said, if he ends up super evolving, which it does look like it's going to happen, we don't have full confirmation, obviously, but it looks like it is going to happen. And if that is the case, then maybe they can switch some things around and make things a little bit more, you know, I guess, you know, more in line with our expectations. But we'll have to wait and see, of course. But hopefully you enjoyed it. If you guys did, make sure you go ahead, leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. On that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.